One.
Yeah.
It's time for the Movin the Chains podcast. Your home for high school football coverage in the Palmetto State. Every team, every game, every week. And now your hosts, Kevin Thomas and John Epps.
All right, welcome in, folks. Kevin Thomas, John Epps here. Week 9 high school football preview show, John. The season's almost over. We've got a couple more weeks here. A lot of really big games tonight. We've got a region championship on the line and just about all of our big games. Our games of the week, that is. John, any other thoughts before we get into some of our games of the week here?
I tell you what, last week we had more upsets and more chaos than we've seen all year, and we've seen the shakeup in the top 10 polls. And I tell you what, being so close to playoffs, I think some of these top teams that we thought were really, really good and maybe not untouchable, but untouchable until they got to the playoffs. Now they got a little bit of a different tune.
Yeah,
a little something to think about now.
You see a team like AC Florida go down. You see, Chapman beat Clinton by a point. We see Silver Bluff flex their muscle. A lot of, wild ball games last Friday night in week 8. But before we get into some chats here, we got a couple comments from Chris. Says, "What's up, guys? What's going on, Chris? Good to see you, man. Your boys have a good game against Clover this Friday. I think you should take that one probably." Derek Day says some muscle arms here. Appreciate you, Derek. Nice tuning in, buddy. Rich Altman says, "What's good, fellas? Good for the good work." Thank you, Rich. We appreciate you, man. All you guys are doing for high school football as well. You guys do a good job there. Kevin says, "Good evening, y'all. Go War Eagles, go Gray." Big win for those guys. Almost clinched the region last week. Kind of, they're in the driver's seat for sure there. Chris Blank said the L test may not be over. That's right. We've got a big week here and next week in week 10 that could show some stuff as well. Kevin says Gray, Eau Claire this week. I feel bad for Eau Claire. It might get beat by 60 by Gray if they want to. So that'll be a wild ball game. But shout out to those guys. I see Haley's in here as well. Scott's in here. Blake's in here. Appreciate you guys tuning us in. If this is your first time, like our post here, like our video, share it, tell your friends, like our page on Facebook, like our Twitter page, our Instagram page. It's all just at Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS. John and I do the preview show on Tuesday nights. It comes out. Looking forward to the week coming up. We do a recap show on Sunday as the audio-only version on podcast places like Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts. Definitely check that out. We have some interview stuff. We got a good interview with the Powdersville coach dropping Thursday, Robert Muster. Had some really good insight into his team and what they're doing this year. Really cool to talk to him. One more comment here, John, from Richie says, "Great debate. In the rankings, they look at the record or the schedule." I tell you what, Richie, we'll get into it a little bit later, but if you watch our show often, John and I don't agree with the rankings a lot, so that's
we're not real sure what they look. They don't look at what class some schools are in.
Sometimes you got them in the wrong place. That's right.
So your guess is as good as ours.
That's right. Chris said Gaffney wins the region at Clover this week, hopefully. I think so. We talked about how that region is not super strong. They got a little bit of a test last week. Nation 4 played them kind of tough for a while there, but I think Gaffney's the head and shoulders the best in that region there in 5A for sure.
And Clover started out with, it was Dorman they knocked off to start the year off, and we're thinking, okay, maybe Clover's pretty good, and they've trailed off a little bit as the year's gone. They're probably better than Nation Forward.
Yeah.
They're certainly better than that, but I think Gaffney's, they should cruise.
Yeah. Let's get into it now, John. Our games of the week here. The first one we have, big game, region championship on the line, Greenville at Greenwood down at Babb Stadium. Kind of an odd matchup here, John, because Greenville hasn't played in 2 weeks. Yeah. They had a COVID cancellation 2 weeks ago. I believe they had a built-in bye last week, I think it was. So basically 3 weeks ago they beat Greer 42-28. We know about the QB Franklin. 21 total touchdowns. The running backs Pepper and Holland. The wide receivers Kelly and South. Both north-south guys. Josh South actually just committed to Clemson about an hour or two ago today. So big pickup for the Tigers there. They got the Sadler kid on the O-line. You got a defense. You got Whitner going to Georgia Southern. You got Gentile. You got Schuler. They got a good special teams unit, with the Shepherd kid at punter, and they got a good kicker there as well. Just so much talent on that side of the ball for them. You flip and look at Greenwood. They had a nice win, 35-28 over Greer last week. The quarterback Rafley's a good player there running that option. The running backs Lowndes Still, V Morton. Got to give you this stat line, John. Last week, V Morton for Greenwood, 39 carries, 335 yards, 3 touchdowns. Set the school record for yards in a game with that 335 and a big matchup there over Greer. Who do you think wins this game? Who do you give the edge to? Greenville at Greenwood Friday night.
I think it's Greenwood. Greenville, we've talked about them a number of times this year, how much talent they have all across the field. I just have a hard time trusting Greenville in these big-time games. Greenwood's got the one loss. It's the Dutch Fork. They beat Hillcrest on the road to start the season. They beat a Catawba Ridge team that was playing really, really well at the time. Catawba Ridge is falling off a little bit now. And then, last week against Greer, I think Greer must be getting better.
Greer has improved. Greer has improved more than the year they have.
But Greenwood has just been solid all season long. They lost all the 12th graders last year, but they are just – we saw them play Hillcrest this year.
Yep.
They are just a really, really solid team. And not that Greenville isn't. I just think Greenville – I think their own worst enemies sometimes, especially in these big games. We saw them play Northwestern, in which that game really wasn't close. But the first drive of the game, Greenville went right down the field, scored on them, and then they just didn't seem to have a whole lot of chemistry. Northwestern seemed to get under their skin throughout that game, and they just kind of, I wouldn't say unraveled, but they just weren't. They didn't seem like they were 100% laser focused on the game plan, on what they needed to do. Northwestern was. And not that Northwestern's a bad team, but I don't think from a talent perspective, Greenville's far off. They might have been the more talented team.
Yeah.
They just couldn't put it together.
Yeah.
And that's what really, really scares me against a team like Greenwood. Because Greenwood can certainly put it together. But, hey, Greenville, they knocked off a very good Malden team earlier this year. They can beat very good teams.
Yeah.
I think Malden is a very, very good, very talented team. Just against Greenwood, I don't believe it.
Yeah, we look back at that Greenwood Hillcrest game to start the year, and Greenwood was really in control most of that ball game. They gave a couple long passes and some scoring drives late in that one. But I tell you what, I was impressed with their defensive line. And when we watched Greenville Northwestern was eating those guys alive up front. They've got Colin Sadler, who's a good player. Besides that, they were getting smoked. Pro Franklin was running for his life all night long. I wonder if he's going to have enough protection to really be able to throw it down the field to these guys like Brown and Sapp and Kelly and Bennett and those guys. So I don't know what to think about that. And I really worry that the 2 weeks off might be too much. Obviously you want 1 week, a bye week's great this time of year, but 2 weeks off, that might be overkill. I don't know.
That's a lot. You think if you take a break from something for 2 weeks, it takes a little bit of time to get back into it. Now, I'm glad you brought up can Pro Franklin is going to have time to throw the ball downfield? Because we saw Hillcrest in the second half of that Greenwood game. They were able to make some adjustments, and they were able to throw the ball downfield with some good success. Really like Hillcrest. They got some good talent on offense. But Greenville can do the same thing. Greenville, Franklin, we know how good he is. Sapp on the outside for Greenville. He's got to have a ton of confidence now.
Oh, yeah.
After committing Clemson tonight, he's going to be ready to go. Raring to really prove himself. Doesn't have to prove himself, but he can play with a ton of confidence. Yeah, he's gonna have that swagger. But I think Greenville's got a chance if they can block those guys up front, and that's what I'm worried about. Because Greenwood, they're big and they're tough.
Yeah, and Greenwood, that offense is really rolling right now. Even that game that lost to Dutch Fork, they had their way on offense with Dutch Fork. They were scoring every drive, eating the clock. They just couldn't stop them enough.
Yeah.
So, you think, has Greenville seen a team like that this year with that triple option? Not really. I think I'm leaning Greenwood in that rushing attack. If they get a lead on you, it's tough to catch up. Things can kind of start snowballing. I think the Eagles at home at Babb Stadium win this ballgame over Greenville.
Yeah, and that's Greenville has a great home field advantage when they're at home. But Greenwood, man, that's a heck of a facility they've got there.
Yeah.
That's got a little bit of an intimidation factor, and hopefully the folks in Greenwood, I imagine they're going to come out in full force for that game.
Yeah,
too.
and that's a game. Greenville kind of revenge factor though from last year. You saw that game; they got smoked. How much does that factor in? Are they ready to play? Are they scared of Greenwood? I don't know, but good matchup.
I mean, we can say revenge, but it wasn't. I don't know that Greenville. They may have walked away from that game saying, "Hey, we should have won this game." But I mean, they just got dominated.
Yeah.
They got pushed around. If I'm a Greenville fan, I'm a little worried. It's not, gosh, they took it from that Chapman Clinton game you went to Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I think Clint could say, man,
Yeah,
I want to play those guys again. I think we can beat them. 1 or 2 plays, we can beat them. Greenville last year wasn't a 1 or 2 play game. That was 3 quarters of, here's what we're going to do, and you're going to take it and like it.
Yeah. A couple comments here. Richie Altman says Oceanside clinched the region with the big win over Hanahan. That was a nice win. He mentioned also look at their non-region schedule. Yeah, Oceanside's played some tough teams. That's a team that's trending in the right direction for sure. Talk more about them in a little bit. Derek, but they asked about the north-south stuff. What's it based off of? Derek, I think it's this year's performance. I don't really know what the official criteria is on the votes there. We'll get into that as well. Chris says Greenwood in a close one because Greenville hasn't played. I kind of agree with you there. Comments here from Chris Blanton. Braves up 5-2 in the 6th. Yes, go Bravos. And then George Connell says, what about Marion? How to look for the playoffs? We'll get into Marion a little bit later on, but they're undefeated. They've clinched the region. They're in a good spot there in 2A, a team that hasn't really been talked about much, but we'll hit on them a little bit as well, George. But our second game of the week, possibly bigger than Greenville Greenwood, honestly, John.
Yes.
That's Myrtle Beach at South Florence, another region championship on the line at South Florence. Myrtle Beach, a team, John, that seems to be hitting their stride.
Yeah, and they're one of the teams, like many of the teams in the PD Grand Strand region, it took them a little while before they get on the field. So you expect them starting off a little bit slow. They had a great game against Oceanside to start their season off, close win against those guys. But yeah, they're really rolling. Their one blemish is playing one of the best teams in the state, Fort Dorchester.
Yeah, no shame
nearly
there.
knocked them off. They lost that game 31-27, and they played some really good football teams. They had a tough game. Following that up, beating West Florence in a close, low-scoring game. They were playing a Hartsville team after that. It seemed Hartsville had things going on for a little bit, and they blew them out.
That one surprised me how bad they beat Hartsville. They really did.
So, I think Myrtle Beach, the more that they're going to play, the better they are, because they got really good players on that side. Adam Randall on the outside. I like Myrtle Beach a lot, but I'll tell you what, from a talent perspective, South Florence at 4 behind.
Yeah. You look at Myrtle Beach, they should be well rested as well, as most of their guys didn't play but a half last week against Wilson, that big blowout there. I think Berger threw 5 TDs. Randall had 6 for 208 and 3 TDs in the first half. Jake Doty had a couple touchdowns at receiver. The runner-up Malachi Washington had 1. So they were able to sit a bunch of guys to keep them kind of healthy. But I'll tell you what, one thing, we mentioned the offense every week, how good they are with Randall and Berger and those guys, John. The defense is playing better too. They held West Florence to 7, Hartsville to 14. Obviously, Wilson to 6 is not a whole lot to talk about there, but the defense is coming along for them. On the flip side of South Florence, they beat Hartsville 28-21, that same Hartsville team last week. They're still without quarterback Lenore Sellers, who I believe is done for the year. I don't know if it's officially announced, but I'm hearing that he's out for the year. But the quarterback, Quincy Rhodes Jr., doing a great job filling in for him. They've got guys, Terry McWhite on offense, who are playing very well for them as well. That offense can still score without Sellers, but I don't know if they can score quite enough to beat Myrtle Beach.
No, I think Myrtle Beach, and I wish Sellers was playing, because I think Sellers playing, it really is a pretty even matchup. I think without Sellers, and as well they played without him. Myrtle Beach that puts Myrtle Beach over the top for me. Nothing against South Florence.
Yeah,
because I think Myrtle Beach is arguably best team in 4A.
Yeah,
especially what we saw happen last week.
Yep.
Some dominoes falling from the top. I think Myrtle Beach is, they're potentially the team to beat in 4A now after C4 stubbed their toe last week.
Yeah. Both these teams are set up to have some home playoff games to make a deep run, but I think, like you said, without Sellers, I'm leaning more towards Berger and Randall and Myrtle Beach. Even on the road, I still think they win this game and lock up that region there in 4A. Our third game here, a couple teams that we don't talk about a ton, John, but are off to really good seasons, really good starts. That's Philip Simmons at Timberland, another region championship in the line pretty much. Philip Simmons beat Woodland 54-14 last week. Timberland beat Lake Marion 21-8, John. What are some of your initial thoughts on this ball game here between these guys?
Two teams that we don't really pay attention to. Philip Simmons, a fairly new school. They're just taking care of business.
Yep.
They're one blemish, losing to Hanahan early on in the year. They lost that game 27.
A bigger school, a couple classes
Yeah,
up, of course.
yeah.
There.
But other than that, they really haven't been tested. I mean, they have put their opponents really in the dirt. They
Yeah.
scored. Looks like they got pretty good offense. They scored a lot of points. Pretty solid defense. Nobody has, really gone crazy against some other than Hanahan. And heck, Hanahan still only scored 27. So a solid team in Philip Simmons. You flip the script to Timberland. They're undefeated. Typically a basketball school. It's been like the year of basketball schools. Lawrence's having a good year. Timberland's having a good year. They've done really, really well. What I'm really impressed about with Timberland, they beat Lamar early on in the season.
That's a big win.
Anytime you beat
That's a
Lamar,
big
no
win.
matter who you are, that's a big, big deal. And they've also played great defense. I think this could be a low-scoring game between these two. I like Timberland.
Yeah, it should be a defensive matchup. I think Philip Simmons is allowing about 10 points per game. Timberland's allowing about 9 points per game. So really a low-score matchup with 1-4. Philip Simmons doesn't really throw it a whole lot. The quarterback Williams is more of a runner along with Shemp than Asbury and those guys that kind of run the ball for them. But they've got a really good defense with Rochetek and Ramey and Smalls and Gant. Timberland, same type of deal. They don't throw it a ton, maybe a little bit more with the quarterback Williams there for them. The running back Watford, the wide receiver Prelude. Maybe still not saying that wrong. I don't know. You guys let me know if I'm saying it incorrect. I know our guy Cavante Lundy, big-time Timberland player. Wish he was in here right now, but he's not. But, John, that Lamar win holds a lot of weight with me. It really does. And Timberland playing at home, I'm going with them to win this ball game Friday night.
Yeah, neither one of them's played outside that Lamar game for Timberland. They haven't played some really high-level schools, and that's kind of why we haven't talked a whole lot about them. Because, they've beat up on a lot of, Jeans and Joes.
Right.
But this could be, this is probably the best team they're going to play for each school. With Lamar, maybe, I don't know. Being
1A, 2A.
1A, it's kind of hard to tell. But this is probably going to be the toughest game for the both of them.
Our fourth and final game of the week here is a game we actually had on the schedule 3 weeks ago, whatever it was.
2 weeks ago.
Got rained out, pushed back due to some field issues with the rain. That is Southside Christian traveling to Dixie. John, Southside Christian is just a machine. Can anybody in 1A play with these guys?
I don't think so. They are. You want to see how you set up a team to play fundamental football and not make mistakes and you guys being where they're supposed to be. Southside Christian. That's it. They are an extremely well coached team. Yeah. It's they got talent.
Yeah.
But it's not like I don't know that they're blowing people away with their talent. It's just how they run that team. They are just very, very impressive the way they carry themselves.
They are coming off a 69-0 win over Whitmire. How about these stats, John? They're 6-0. They've got 5 shutouts. Only team that scored is 4A Greer, who scored 15 on them in a game that Southside Christian still won. They're led by Ashton Sherman and Woodfield at the linebacker spot, Hood at the safety spot. And you flip it over, offense is averaging 45 a game. So they're just tough to stop. The quarterback, Corey Martin, the running back, T.J. Goldsmith, really good players for them. But we got to give Dixie some love, too. They're coming up with 62-14 win over Calhoun Falls. They've won, I think, 4 or 5 games in a row for them as well. The guy, Hunter Satterfield, leads the offense there. Defense, they can play as well, only allowing about 12 points per game. They can call some turnovers. And if they want to hang in this game, they're going to need a couple of those.
Yeah, and I think they're capable of that. They play great defense all season long. And that's the thing. Hey, if you can play really good defense, you can be in just about any ball game.
Yeah.
But the problem is, Southside's got a really good offense too.
Yep.
Southside's certainly the favorite in this game, but Dixie's got a defense to give themselves a chance.
Yeah, playing at home, maybe get some special magic for the Hornets there, but I think the Sabres have to be the favorite, pretty heavy favorite, really. And it's not knocking Dixie, but Southside is just a very good football team, and I think they probably win this game by a few scores, honestly, John.
I think so too. But you know what? It's Southside. They are Class A football, especially in the upstate.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the reclassification if they get moved up or anything like that. But right now they're tough to beat in 1A for sure. But that's our 4 games of the week: Greenville at Greenwood, Myrtle Beach at South Florence, Philip Simmons at Timberland, and Southside Christian at Dixie. If you guys have any comments on those, feel free to let us know. We haven't seen all these teams play. We've only seen a couple of them, so definitely let us know your thoughts on those. Want to give a quick shout out here to our friends over at the Georgia Agency. They've been serving the state of South Carolina for over 35 years with their insurance needs. Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew do a great job, whether it's health insurance, life insurance, employee benefits, whatever it is, they can help you out. They have offices in Mullins and Myrtle, and they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, Aiken, etc. So don't be afraid to reach out to them because you don't live around Mullins or the Myrtle Inlet area. They can still help you out. Check them out at thegeorgiaagency.net. That's thegeorgiaagency.net. And then our other friend here, we've got Secured Advantage Federal Credit Union. They have a clear purpose to improve the financial lives of their members. They offer much lower loan rates and don't charge the fees that other banks do. Whatever your personal journey, Secured Advantage is here to offer you smart financial solutions. Join today at securedadvantagefcu.com. That's securedadvantagefcu.com. Secured Advantage Federal Credit Union. Win at banking, thrive at life. Member NCUA. So two great friends there in the program. Definitely check them out for your banking and insurance needs. John, let's take a look at some of the statewide schedule here in 5 through 1A and talk about some of those games we'll come across them.
Yeah, we'll start with 5A in the Low Country. Somerville going to Ashley Ridge. Spring Valley will go to Blythewood. This is now a pretty big game as Burns has been playing a lot better football lately. TL Hanna will have to go to Dixon Field to play the Rebels.
That's a game, Burns, big winner for Dorman. Kind of surprised me how they won it because it wasn't really a shootout. It was more of a low-scoring game, looked like there. And then TL Hanna just keeps rolling. Like we talk about every week, how they keep getting better and better and better as they get more used to the offense and guys kind of gel together. This will show us a lot about, is Burns for real? If they turn the corner on defense, we'll see quickly Friday night. I think I like TL Hanna, and I probably like him by 2-3 scores.
I think it could be a 1-2 score game. I really believe, because with Burns, the game that we saw them play, gosh, I love their offense. Love Gabe Rogers at quarterback. Is it Mac, running back?
Mac Long, but he's injured right now, so he's out.
Still hurt. Really love their offense. It's just their defense couldn't get it together. Now it looks like they've got it together. Also coming off of 2 weeks ago, the 70-0 shutout over a pretty good Riverside team this year. So I think Burns is, they're starting to put it together. Nixon Field, I think I said Dixon Field, sorry. Nixon Field, tough place to play at.
Yep.
Tough place to play. It's a long drive for Hanna. I think it could be a close game. I'd like Hanna in it, but I think it could be a 1-2 score game. Moving back into the PD region, you got Grand Strand rather. Socastee playing at Carolina Forest. River Bluff will go to Chapin. As we talked about, Gaffney playing at Clover. Gaffney's got to be awake for that game.
Yeah.
But they should certainly win that one.
Yeah. Now, I think Chris said that does lock up region if they win that one, and that does sound right. They've already beat Nation 4-0. I want to say Fort Mill obviously has a couple losses. Clover, is the last competition there for them to take.
Yeah, and that's good. I think that's good for Gaffney. Give them a little juice, a little motivation for this game. You got Wade Hampton going to Dorman. This is a top 10 game here in the Midlands. Lexington going to Dutch Fork. That's a 1 versus 7 matchup in 5A. I just don't think Lexington's been playing well this year.
They have.
I just don't think they're going to be, within 20, 30 points of Dutch Fork.
We look at what happened last week, and maybe there's some of that upset magic still in the air. I don't know. But Dutch Fork, John, they haven't punted in 5 games. The last game they punted in was that Burns game we were at. That was the last time they punted.
And they didn't punt in the first half of that game.
So their offense has been on an absolute roll, and I think it's going to continue against Lexington. But Lexington may keep it within a 25-point game. I don't know.
If it's a 3-score game, I would be impressed.
Yeah,
I would be impressed. We've got West Ashley going to Fort Dorchester, Boiling Springs at Fort Mill, J.L. Mann will be at Hillcrest. Hillcrest, they're another team that's been playing well
in the right direction
here in the second half of the season. And not that they were playing bad in the first half, they couldn't quite put it all together.
Yeah, weren't quite playing a full game, it felt like. Yeah.
But Mann, a team kind of going the other way. They started out pretty well, and they've come back to earth a little bit. But that could be a tough game for Hillcrest. Hillcrest's got to play well. It's a good opportunity for Mann to right the ship, try to get into the playoffs. We have Woodmont going to Malden. That could be a good game too.
Big game there. I think both of those teams are probably. Actually, I think one team in that region is going to miss the playoffs. That's a big game there, I think, for playoff seeding.
Yeah, because that will be Mann, Hillcrest, Woodmont, Malden.
Yep, and I want to say, depending on how, I guess Woodmont already beat Mann. I believe Malden did too. So maybe they may both be in the playoffs. I'll look at that.
And then who are our last two in that region?
Hillcrest, TL Hanna, JL Mann, Malden, and Woodmont are in that region 1 there.
Okay. So you have one of the 4 here out of Maine, Hillcrest, Woodmont, and Malden's going to miss out.
No, it looks actually they get 4 in there. So all 4 of those will be in it, but just you want to be that 3 seed, not that 4 seed, that's for sure.
Exactly.
So that's a big ball game there for seeding for those guys.
We've got Aiken will go to Nation Ford. Rock Hill will be at Ridgeview. Spartanburg going to Riverside.
I believe, circle back, I think Rock Hill Ridgeview is the last playoff spot in that region. So that's a big ball game there for those guys. Spartanburg at Riverside, that's one that 3 weeks ago I'd have said, that could be a really good ball game.
Yes.
So right now, Spartanburg's kind of going the right way.
Yes.
Riverside had a nice win over Wade-Hampton last week to get lock in a playoff spot for them. Before that, they had not played great against Dorman or Burns. I know they had another injury. The Sanders kid went out early last week against Wade-Hampton, but it didn't really matter if it was Wade-Hampton. That region's is going to probably end up with a 3-way tie between Burns, Dorman, and Spartanburg, or it's leading towards that if Dorman can beat Spartanburg here in a couple weeks. And at which that point, the crazy tiebreakers come into effect about what's going to happen here. But if you really want to have a wrench thrown on the plans, let Riverside beat Spartanburg, and then we'll see what happens.
No kidding. No kidding.
And if Riverside's at full strength, I think they can do it playing at home. They can score some points. How healthy they are, I don't know right now, so I'm going to have to lean Spartanburg, I think, at that ball game.
I think so, too, but that could be that's a tricky game.
Yeah, don't overlook them. Don't overlook them.
And what I really like, Spartanburg's going to win a lot better.
They have. Once the Jeter kid came back, they played much better.
Yeah. We've got Cane Bay going to R.D. Stall. Berkeley will go to Stratford. Thursday night game, St. James will be at Sumter. That could be a tricky game for Sumter.
Mm-hmm.
I think
St.
they
James
got
is
it
not
under
bad
control.
this year.
Yeah, I think Sumter will have it under control. They would play really solid football, but it'll be a tough game.
Mm-hmm.
And Thursday, always a little bit different.
Yep.
Yeah, a little bit outside the schedule. Goose Creek will go to Wando, and Lawrence will be at White Knoll.
Yeah, John, while you're pulling up 4A, I'll mention that Lawrence game because it's a 4A one here. I know we're talking off the show about how that's going to work out for the region. So if you guys aren't aware, Lawrence is in that same region as Greenville and Greenwood. Lawrence had to have games against both of those canceled due to COVID. I don't think we're going to make them up. Lawrence is sitting in a pretty good spot in the region as well. I don't know how that's going to be factored in as far as playoff seeding goes. If Lawrence ends up 3-0 in region, Greenville is 4-1, Greenwood's 5-0. How are you going to settle that? I don't know. If somebody in the chat here knows, let us know. I'm not sure what the region bylaws are for that, but could be a weird situation over there in that region for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if there's gosh, we never had this situation before.
Yeah.
Last year's the first time. But do you have to have I doubt any region has a minimum number of region games that you have to play.
Yeah, I don't know what you do there.
2-0, I don't know that you can say they can't be put behind a 4-1 team.
Right.
It would be crazy if Lawrence turns out winning that region.
It's going to be wild to see how that turns out.
And Lawrence is not a bad team.
No, they're not. They're not.
If you had to go play Lawrence in the playoffs, that's
tough out
not an
for
easy
sure.
task.
They're tough out.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. And heck, if you get matched up with one of these other guys, Greenwood or Greenville, and they come to your place,
you don't want that. Yeah,
boy,
yeah.
That's
you don't want that
that's
either.
a tough
You don't want that
2-3
either.
draw.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting.
that'll be very interesting. Going down to 4A, we've got Lugoff Elgin going to AC Flora. Probably going to be a blowout.
Lugoff Elgin trending up right now. Big win last week.
They beat a Richland
AC
Northeast
Flora
team.
stock down.
Yeah, they beat a Richland Northeast team last week that I thought was playing a little bit better football this year.
Mm-hmm.
Not the case if you get beat by the Demons. And then Flora, they got knocked off at WC Hawkins in Irmo last week. So I think we know what's going to happen here, but I don't know.
AC Flora needs a big bounce back win. That was we knew Irmo was good last week. We didn't think they were that good. But good win for those guys. AC Flora, they've been kind of up and down. We talked about how they've scored 3 to 50 to all over the place. But they need to find some consistency for sure.
Yeah, and against Lugoff Elgin, they can probably get their bearings back.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, if they don't have a good look on Friday, it could be
4A's flipped upside down at that point. Yeah.
It's starting to look for the panic button if you're the Falcons. Moving on, we got South Aiken going to Airport.
South Aiken flying under the radar. Very good team down there this year. People aren't talking about it. I think they almost won that region, locked it in, if not for sure. So they're a good team to watch out for as well.
We have Beaufort going to Bluffton. Indianland will be at Catawba Ridge. West Florence will be at Darlington. As we talked about, one of our games of the week, maybe the game of the state. Greenville going to Greenwood. East Side will be at Greer. Wilson will go to Hartsville. Hilton Head going to James Island. Colleton County at May River. North Augusta going to Midland Valley. Aiken will be at Nation Ford. Richland Northeast hosting Dreer. South Florence hosting Myrtle Beach, one of our games of the week. That should be a very, very good game as well. Pickens will go to Travelers Rest. West Side hosting Walhalla. Westwood hosting Irmo. White Knoll, as we said, will be hosting Lawrence, a 4A, 5A matchup there. And York hosting Lancaster. York team that's been playing pretty good football lately.
If York can win, they'll set up a undefeated matchup against South Point, region-wise, at least for the title next week. So big matchup there for York to make sure they come out on top of that one.
It's interesting. And Northwestern's been having a great year, but 10 years ago you talk about, hey, what's going to be a big time York County matchup late in the year? You go, oh, Rock Hill and Northwestern, and now it's York South Point.
That's right. Yeah.
Not what you would predict. Going down to 3A, we've got another Thursday night matchup here. Hanahan will go to Academic Magnet. Battery Creek will be hosting Oceanside. Bishop England hosting North Charleston. Blue Ridge at home against Powdersville. Brooklyn Casey trending back upward now.
Big win last week for Gilbert.
They're hosting Swansea Friday. Broome hosting Woodruff. Berea will go to Carolina. Emerald hosting Clinton. Gilbert hosting Strom Thurmond. That's a big time game.
That region is up in arms as well. I think we got 4 teams at 2-1. Gilbert, Strom Thurmond, BC, and Orangeburg Wilkinson all sitting at 2-1. Interesting how that turns out in the next couple weeks because there's a lot to be determined there in that region.
Very, very interesting. And I think OW is not bad.
No, they shut out Strom Thurmond last week.
Yeah.
Not nothing. Crazy.
Gilbert, you really like Gilbert. I really like Brooklyn Casey. Strom Thurmond's, they put their stamp on some good wins this year. That's a fun region right there. We've got Lake City will host Andrews. Also a Thursday night game. This is a fun one here. Lamar hosting Ainer.
How about Lamar playing 3A teams last week? They played Dillon a couple weeks ago. Ainer now.
Yeah.
Hats off to those guys playing some big. I mean, they played Timberland earlier in the year. Yeah. Good for them playing some bigger classifications.
Yeah, love it.
They're not scared. That's for sure.
And hey, hats off to those other guys because you don't really have much to gain by playing.
That's right.
Playing Lamar, but hey, good for them.
Yeah.
We got Fox Creek. We'll go to Orangeburg Wilkinson. Pendleton will be at Seneca. Southside hosting Palmetto. Union hosting Chapman. And Wren hosting Belt Huntington.
Yeah, and if Chapman wins that game, they're, I think, almost guaranteed region. They're in the driver's seat right now after they went over Clinton last week. They've got a couple guys left. I think Union and maybe Broome left as well. We'll see what happens there. But they're in the driver's seat certainly after that 1-point win over Clinton. Patrick says, sorry, guys, jumping on late. Appreciate you, Patrick. We got to go a little bit earlier today, actually. So not just you. But, I want a quick shout-out, John. While you're pulling up two-way, I'll shout out Jay Law, George Connell, Patrick, Cavante, Chris, Haley, Austin's in here, Vidarius, Ryan, Derek, Curtis, Desmond. Appreciate you guys tuning in, man. We love having you in here and love the comments. Keep them coming. As high school football, I know the season's almost over, but we're about to get into playoffs. It's going to be even more exciting and a lot more talking going on. So definitely stay in here and keep us up to date on your thoughts on the season as we get through it here at the end.
Jumping into 2A now, we got 96 going to Abbeville. Blacksburg hosting Chesney. Buford will host Central of Pageland. Burke hosting Woodland. North Central will go to Sherrall. That's a sneaky good game right there.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of those teams are in the top 10, but they're two pretty good teams.
Yep.
And that's a tight region there. Also, I think that's the same region as well. Chesterfield hosting Andrew Jackson.
Yeah.
Again, two more pretty solid teams.
But Chesterfield, we know they can score.
Yeah.
Can they, keep scoring on a good defense like Andrew Jackson? We'll see. But it should be a very good ball game.
We've got Gray Collegiate, the Machine. Expect them to keep rolling. They host Eau Claire on Friday. Landrum will host Legion Collegiate. Liberty will host Christ Church. Kingstree going to Mullins. Newberry hosting Batesburg. Leesville. That's a big game for that region as well. Another Thursday night game. Barnwell going to Pelion.
Barnwell needs a bounce back. They had a tough loss to Silver Bluff last week.
Yeah, we thought that game was going to be a lot closer than it was. They should be able to do that against Pelion.
Yep.
Ridgely and Hardyville will host Lake Marion. Columbia going to Saluda. Silver Bluff coming off that big win. They host Edisto this Friday. One of our games of the week. Timberland hosting Phillips Simmons, a 7-1 team, 7-0 team. Good time
if you guys are tuning in, we talked about them early in the program, so definitely rewind it, listen to us talk about Phillips Simmons, Timberland. We both like the Wolves Friday night. That should be a good matchup. We'll give some good insight on that earlier as well. And John, I do want to mention Marion. I know George Connell asked about Marion earlier. They're off this week, but they are 8-0. They've clinched the region. The Cusack kid at quarterback is a good athlete there for them. They got a young running back that runs the ball well. I'm a little worried because that region's not the toughest one in 2A. I know Lee Central's had a good year, which also that's a great story. If you guys don't know, Lee Central, I think, is sitting at 4-2, 5 something like that. Didn't even play at all last year because of COVID. So first year back off of a totally just wiped out season, having a good season there for Lee Central. But Marion is in a good position. They'll get that 1 seed. get some home games. I don't think they're as good as the state championship runner-up team as last year, but they can win a couple games in the playoffs, I think so, for sure. They run the ball well, play good defense, and that's always a formula for success in the playoffs.
And having that home field advantage would be, that's
Fox
a big
Field,
deal. That's
fun
a big
place to
deal.
play.
First place I remember, not
Mm-hmm.
the first playoff game I ever went to, but the first playoff game I remember going to was Blue Golf Belgian Marion game down there, and that was it was just like misty in the air. And, I mean, I was probably 9 years old. If you had asked me how big those Marion guys were, I'd be like, oh man, they were all 6'3", 300 pounds.
They're still big. They're still big.
Huge.
They got a lot of athletes down there in Marion.
Marion can play, and I tell you what, 2A is so interesting because we know how good Gray is,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't know how good they are compared to Abbey.
Yeah. We'll see it in playoffs hopefully.
Yeah,
But
and, we know Silver Bluff is really good.
yeah,
But we're not sure because of Marion's schedule. Where's Marion in relation
Mm-hmm.
to those guys? Where's Silver Bluff in relation to Gray and Abbey? Well, it's because they're all four. You throw in Timberland.
Yep.
They're all really good. Philip Simmons. We're gonna find out about Philip Simmons Friday.
Yep.
A lot of these guys are good. They just haven't played like
Each
opponent.
other,
They haven't played
yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
Gray's played a bunch of teams above them.
Mm-hmm.
But they beat Ridgeview. We thought, oh wow, Ridgeview's pretty good. Ridgeview's falling off. So
That'd been great.
2A is
It's why it's
You know,
open. I mean, we got
who
a few
knows?
front runner, like you said, Abbeville, Gray, Silver Bluff, but there could be some more teams that could make some noise in the
Yeah.
playoffs for sure.
Yeah.
For
it's
sure.
it's gonna be fun watching 2A.
Yeah. Let's run the 1A schedule right quick, John, if you've got it up there, and then we'll get into our pick 'em from this week and see how that went out.
Yeah, we got a short schedule as we typically do here with 1A. We got Allendale Fairfax hosting Williston Elko. Dixie, game of the week here, certainly in 1A.
Mm-hmm.
Dixie hosting Southside Christian. Hannah Pamplico hosting Green Sea Floyds. Hannah Pamplico having a great season.
Yeah, Green Sea Floyd's kind of sneaky. I think they're sitting undefeated in that region. People haven't talked much about them after a couple down years after having the big years of state championships.
Yeah.
So looks like they're back. That's an interesting game to see how that turns out against 8P Friday
Yeah,
night.
that's another good game late in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter Kenner Tyler will be hosting Branchville. McBee hosting Great Falls. Thursday night matchup here at Ridge Spring Minetta hosting Bethune-Bowman. Scotch Branch hosting C.E. Murray. Johnson will be going to Timmonsville. And Whitmire will be hosting Ware Shoals. Not sure about Timmonsville. That might be the final home game.
It might be.
for
It
the
might be.
Whirlwinds before they shut it down.
Kind of sad to say that,
Yeah,
John,
it
honestly,
really is.
but
It
it
really
could be.
is.
I don't know their schedule, but that could be the last one. But let's get into our pick'em leaders from last week and overall. If you guys haven't been a part of this, it's a lot of fun. We do 10 games a week. You send in your picks, a Google form. I post it on Twitter and Facebook using on Wednesdays. Get your picks in. We put out the winners here on our show Tuesday night and post them afterwards. Been a lot of fun kind of keeping up with, just the teams across the state. Gives you a reason to really do it. But let's look back at our Week 8 leaders. John, as we said earlier, a wild week, and you'll see it in our pick'em scores here. We had two guys, Corey T and Hunter A, both go 8-2, tie for the lead there. We had two people go 7-3, Amy S, Jack T. Dexter went 6-4. Everybody else 5-5 or below. John, both of us went 5-5. Just a wild week there. A lot of games people didn't expect. But hats off to Corey and Hunter coming up top there with the 8-2. That's a big score in a week that I would have killed it with 6 right, honestly.
No kidding. And I think one person picked Irmo.
Yep.
So tell us what you knew, because no one else knew it. No one else saw that coming.
Just a wild week, but congrats to those guys and all of our leaders there in Week 8. Now look at our overall leaders, John. Like we said before, we're doing a overall prize end of the season. Right now, the leader is Tyler D in the solo spot there with 62. Right behind him, Kane E, Charlie L at 61. We got Mark F at 60. We've got Trevor F, Brian L, Ryan F all at 59. Brian M, Kyle C, Amy S, and David C at 57. John, you're at 54. I'm at 63. It's been a tight matchup here down the last couple of weeks. If you've got a 5 or a 6 sitting there as your lowest score, you don't want to drop below it because you're going to lose some points. So definitely want to keep doing it. You don't want to miss it and keep tuning in and being a part of that each week. One more 1A game we've got here, John, from Derek with Ace. Walkmore at Lake. That's when I saw them Thursday. That's Walkmore Lakeview. Lakeview taking on a bigger school. I think Lakeview still probably win that game for Walkmore. I think Walkemore's 3A, but I think I like Lakeview in that ball game.
Yeah, I think Lakeview's they're pretty legit.
They're a good team.
They can play with a lot of folks, whether it's 1A, 2A, 3A.
That's right. Let's give one more shout out here to our friends before we go into the polls, John. The Georgia Agency, they've been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 35 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrating on employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Myrtle Inlet. They can help you all across the state. They've got clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, etc. So wherever you are, give them a call. Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew. If you're a small business owner, or if you're a seasonal employee, or a waiter, or a hospitality worker, or whatever, have insurance for your company, check them out. They can help you out. Or if you need insurance for your company, they can help you out with that as well. So check out the GeorgiaAgency.net. That's GeorgiaAgency.net. And then our friends over at Secured Advantage Federal Credit Union. They have a clear purpose to improve the financial lives of their members. They offer much lower loan rates and don't charge the fees that other banks do. Whatever your personal journey, Secured Advantage is here to offer you smart financial solutions. Join today at securedadvantagefcu.com. That's securedadvantagefcu.com. Win at banking, thrive at life. Member NCUA. So two of our great partners there, the Georgia Agency and Secured Advantage Federal Credit Union. John, let's take a look at these polls they dropped today. I don't know if Richie's still in here or not, but we're going to bash him like we always do, I'm sure. But let's take a look at the polls that came out today, the media prep poll here heading into week 9.
Yeah, with 5A, not a whole lot of movement here. Of course, Dutch Fork is number 1. Fort Dorchester stays 2. Gaffney stays 3. T.L. Hanna at 4. Northwestern at 5. Sumter is 6. Lexington at 7 right now. Probably going to drop out after they get beat by Dutch Fork Friday. Spring Valley at 8. Hillcrest at 9. And Burns hopping into the
back
top
in.
10.
And that's one that surprises me because we see receiving votes. Spartanburg beat Burns a couple weeks ago. Kind of an odd one there. I would have probably had the Vikings in at 10 instead of Burns, but obviously we don't get a vote in it, John. Another team I think that's sneaky in 5A, not getting a lot of recognition, Goose Creek.
Yes.
They've got some nice ones. They got a really good running back, Demetri Simmons, can really score from all over the field. They could be a sneaky team in the playoffs as well.
I think so too. I think Goose Creek's another one of those teams where nobody's going to want to play them. They're a very, very good club. Burns playing a lot better, but like you said, I don't know if I put them at the top.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know if I put them at the top.
They'll show us a lot Friday night against T.L. for sure.
Yes. Going down to 4A. Now 4A is where we have some movement.
Yes, we do.
We have a new number 1 getting. So here's another. This is crazy. Okay. I don't know how this works out. I don't know how this is set. Greenville is number 1. They're getting 6 first place votes. Okay. Myrtle Beach is number 2. They're getting 8 first place votes. So I don't know how that works.
Rules, so.
I'd probably have Myrtle Beach number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know really where I would put Greenville. I'd certainly have them in the top 5, maybe the top 3, but I don't know if I'd have them 2.
Yeah, the tough spot collectors. So they've got so much talent. I feel like they don't quite have it put together. Like you said, it's just some teams a little bit off in it. Maybe the 2 weeks off helped out. We'll see. I don't know, but they're sitting at 1 right now.
Their 1 loss is the number 5 team in 5A.
Yeah, so hard to get much.
You can't blame them too much. And guys, we're hard on them on that one because we felt like they could win that game.
Yeah.
They could win that game. I still feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got 3, South Point sitting there. Sitting at 4th after losing to the Irmo Yellow Jackets, AC Flora, the former number 1. They're still getting 3 first place votes, though.
Yep.
Which, I'm not going to, whatever. Okay, that's fine. Number 5 is Greenwood. Probably have them higher, honestly. I think I might flip. Honestly, I wouldn't put Greenwood number 1, but I may have, Greenwood maybe 3 or 4, and maybe Greenville 1 spot behind them.
I like that. I mean, because right now you're looking at it, we both picked the number 1 team to lose the number 5 team this week.
Yeah.
On the road. Oh, it is on the road, give them that. But I like Greenwood a lot. I think they're a very good football team.
Yes, very much. We have 6, South Florence, well deserved there, I think. 7 is York.
York Comprehensive, as we like to call them.
Yes, that's right, the Cougars. We'll find out a lot about them when they play South Florence.
Yep. Coach Boyd has them rolling in the right direction for sure.
Yes. Number 8, Irmo Yellow Jackets. They've been playing some good football. They've been playing, obviously last week was their best game of the year, knocking off AC Flora. We'll see what Irmo's got.
And now they're in the driver's seat in that region. So they could get home field. AC Flora might have to go on the road week 2 or week 3 in the playoffs. If Irmo could get that home field, it would be big for those guys. They just got to take care of business for the next couple of weeks.
And the way that the Midlands are worked out, with the upper state, I feel like there's not as much volatility with the traveling. But with the lower state guys, if you're AC Flora, heck, you could have a game where you got to go to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
You got to
I think they technically fall up states. They may have to go up to
Okay. I
Greenville
didn't know. It's...
Yeah, I believe that region falls in the upper state, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, those Midlands teams, they kind of bounce back and forth a little bit there. We've got West Florence checking in at number 9, and May River closing out at 10.
Both those teams had big wins. West Florence taking down North Beach last week, and then May River taking down Beaufort. Very big wins for both those ball clubs there, who are now in the top 10.
Yeah, those are going to be 2 tough teams come playoff time as well. In 3A, we've got Daniel staying at number 1. Dillon stays number 2. Chapman now with their big win in Clinton. Chapman is now number 3. Camden is 4. Clinton number 5. So Clinton and Chapman.
They just switched spots, I believe.
Which I understand that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong there. Powdersville number 16 we saw play. What was that last week?
Last Monday night.
Impressive Powdersville.
They are, and I think the Williams kid should be back. He went down. I think he'll be back probably for the playoffs for sure. Maybe next week we'll see. Honestly, they can probably hold him if they want to because some of the games they've got. But he should be fine to go for the playoffs. He's a stud. He's a good kid to watch.
That's great news that that's not a serious injury because he was down on the field for a while on Monday. Didn't look great as they were taking him off the field there. So that good news for him that he's not going to be out very long. At 7, we've got Lower Richland. At 8, Brooklyn Casey. The Bearcats are going like this all year. They're a fun team to keep up with. Number 9 is Ainer, and then rounding out the top 10, the Gilbert Indians. Tell you what, 3A, every single year 3A is very
It's
exciting.
so fun.
This
it's
is
so
no
fun.
different this year.
Yep. Just so much. Anybody can win it. We feel like there's a lot of teams that are capable.
Yeah, I think you take number 10. You matched up Gilbert. You take up number 10 Gilbert, number 1 Daniel. I'm not 100% sold that Daniel wins that game.
Yeah, it's certainly the favorite, but it could be close.
You look at 10 and 5A compared to Dutch Fork, it's no brainer.
You look at 4 and 5A.
Yeah. Take Abbeville in number 10 and 2A.
Yeah.
No brainer.
Yeah.
1A, Southside, number 10. No brainer. 3A, who knows?
Could be a ball game.
Who knows? Going down to 2A, Abbeville staying number 1. However, Gray Collegiate at number 2. Sutherland
getting their vote still.
Them 1 first place vote.
And that was a good win over Saluda last week. I know it was a little closer game, 20-6, but Saluda's a good football team. They lost twice now to Rabun County and now to Gray Collegiate. Gray keeps rolling. Big win for them. I think they've still got to handle Newberry to make sure they lock in the region. They're in a good spot there for that. And we keep looking forward to that Abbeville-Gray matchup in the playoffs.
I think Saluda is a lot better than we give them credit for.
Really good defense, I feel like. But Rabun County scored all over them. But, so
yeah, and, we don't know. Maybe, Rabun County could be the Dutch Fork of Georgia.
They're stocking going around.
Who knows? So it's hard to gauge that one.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got Gray number 2, Silver Bluff still number 3, Marion, the Swamp Foxes at 4, Timberland at 5 with their big game this week against Philip Simmons. Christchurch at 6, Philip Simmons at 7. We have Barnwell still there at 8, which Barnwell's still a really good team.
They are.
I understand why they're 8, but they're still a very good team.
Yeah.
Number 9 we got Saluda, and number 10 Wade Hampton down in the Low Country. Good grouping at 2A. There are a lot of good teams still in 2A.
A lot of good football in 2A.
And we go down to 1A. We got Southside Christian, of course, number 1. Bamberg Earhart is number 2. Lamar 3. Baptist Hill is at 4. Whale Branch 5. Ridge Spring Minette at 6. Lakeview at 7. We have Dixie at 8 playing Southside this Friday. Hannah Pamplico at 9. And Green Sea Floyd's checking in at 10. Still, I think Southside's head and shoulders above 1A. But after that, that's a really good team.
Yeah, there's some depth there. I just don't know if it's quite the level of Southside Christian, but some good football being played in 1A as well.
Yeah.
Anything else in the polls you wanted to shout out, Johnny? That's about it. Nothing too crazy. We didn't see any weird votes, right, as far as who was in the others receiving this week. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a revolving door when you get down to that.
Yeah.
Down there.
Yeah. Do want to give a quick shout out to the North-South teams got announced today. That game being played yesterday. Game being played December 11th down at Doug Shaw Stadium in Myrtle Beach. Definitely congrats to all the kids that made it. We put the rosters out on our Twitter page and our Facebook page here. Interesting to see what's going to happen now. I know there's a kind of competitor to the Shrine Bowl, the Carolina Bowl, being played at Gaffney that Sunday, the 12th. And North-South's already picked their team. I don't know what this game's going to do. They're playing North Carolina kids, kind of like a Shrine Bowl, but not the Shrine Bowl. So I wonder if they're going to pick from kids that did get selected or what they're going to do for that game. I don't know, but interesting how that turns out. But the North-South rosters are loaded.
I was just going to say
loaded.
that. It's, typically the Shrine Bowl, I don't know that the Shrine Bowl necessarily gets the first pick, but the Shrine Bowl has a little more cachet tied to it, and you have more of the talented guys, or the more talented guys playing in the Shrine Bowl. Without the Shrine Bowl this year, I'll tell you what, there's some really good players on these North-South teams that typically
there's a lot more guys that play the Shrine Bowl. Yeah.
I think, I want to say, is Randall playing?
He's on the team. I don't know if he's a player or not, but he's on the team.
DJ Black's on the North-South team.
Yeah.
There's some Trent Pierman's on the North-South team. There's some really, really good talent. This could be one of the best North-South games.
Yeah, will be a great ball game down there. That Saturday. I know they'll announce football at halftime. I have not seen those nominees come out yet. I've seen that be kind of soon. I don't think they put that out, but they'll do that at halftime of that North-South game. But should be a good weekend down there at Myrtle Beach for sure. I want a quick shout out to Jay, Vidarius, Melvin, Ryan, Derek's still in here, Chris, Rich, you guys, Patrick. Appreciate you guys tuning in. This is your first time, like we said. Like our Facebook page, like our post here. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Movin the Chains, MOVINCHAINS. We post some different stuff on those. We do some graphics on Instagram and some short reels and videos. We do some more scores and updates throughout the night on Twitter. Here on Facebook, we do our live shows on Tuesday, of course, and we do our audio-only podcast version of our recap show. Comes out Sunday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We put this show on podcast, audio-only version as well later on tonight. So definitely tune into all that stuff. We've got some good stuff. We've got the interview with the Powderville coach coming Thursday night. Robert Mustard, some really good stuff. You want to tune in to listen to his thoughts on how that team is being, breaking records for Powderville High School. Honestly, it's still undefeated. So really good interview there. John, week 9, 2 more weeks. It's hard to believe we're this far in the season already.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, some teams, boy, you got 2 weeks to make it happen.
Yeah, a lot of playoffs still to be decided. We've got some things that are kind of locked in. We'll kind of go over some of that here. Probably we'll mention maybe next week or the week after as far as maybe who's got locked in region and whatnot. And then we'll have our big-time playoff shows coming up as well for our 1A through 5A. You guys definitely want to tune in for that here in a few weeks. But I think that's all I got, John, before we hit the road for the week.
Yeah, I'm excited about the Burns-Spartanburg game. I think that's going to be really fun. And Greenville.
If you guys are at a game, send us pictures, awesome. Let us know. We're going to be out of town, so we won't be at one this Friday night. So if you guys are at a game, definitely keep us up to date. We love these big games, Greenville, Greenwood, Myrtle Beach, South Florence, Simmons, Timberland, or Southside Christian, Dixie. So love to see how those turn out. But for our Week 9 preview show, it's John Epps, Kevin Thomas, and we will chat you guys next week.